Okay, welcome back to Sophie and Linda's Moot Talks. So, Linda, welcome back. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Thanks.
We
And quite an
haven't.
epic New Year. Like nothing's ever quiet,
Oh my
and every
God. Oh
day
my
new
God.
events unfold. And to be honest, between Maduro, Iran, Minnesota, Greenland, I don't know what to focus on first. So let's just take one by one, and let's focus on the big one because it's quite serious. Is the Iran unfolding, if we can call it that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not the
Yeah.
first time these things have happened in Iran, but this somehow feels a bit different, I guess. Your thoughts?
So many thoughts. The first thing that I want to really underline, because I think that's the most important, in a world where courage, real courage, is fading away. Okay, we see. We have seen people cowering to the power in a way that I think in history we haven't seen. And these young Iranian and older children, because I've seen some pictures of children that have been killed, taking to the streets with no weapons. They have no weapons. And they are facing an army, not police, not American police, not the American or the British, even worse, or the French police or whatever. They're fronting a real army with real weapons of war. And they are ready to die for freedom.
I have.
When we see our youth in the West, siding with their oppressors, and they know what they're fighting. It's not a concept. It's not an idea. It's not a TikTok trend. They're living. It's their reality. And this reality is so awful that they are ready to die. I don't think people in the West are ready to die for freedom. I don't think they are. And I think that we have to applaud to really, I don't know if I would have the guts to be in the street. I'm not talking also, but I'm talking about myself. Would I stand there in the street knowing that there is an 80-90% chance of dying? I don't think I would.
The
What
thing
is
that's the
your
most, it's just incredible. Just the left is in shambles. The narrative on the left of what's happening. I mean, we'll start with what happened with Maduro. I mean, imagine actually defending that. But it's the complete disregard for the voices on the ground, for Iranians abroad, for Iranians in the diaspora, those who have fled, who tell them we want this regime gone. And they still play with the narrative of it's somehow a Mossad Israeli plot, it's somehow an undermining happening here, and somehow the Ayatollahs are the legitimate government of Iran. I mean, they were never
yeah
legitimate, let's face it. I mean, that was a coup.
yeah
But
yeah
to listen to the left in the West, I just don't understand how we got this far. I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, I can, because if we just deviate a little bit, we'll pivot to, say, Nick Shirley and what he's uncovered in Minnesota, and to have Americans defending the fraudster, sitting there defending the Somali fraudsters, who basically it's an organised gang that has organised and fleeced taxpayer money for fraudulent means or purposes, and they're defending that simply because of their very binary view of black-white, the victim and the oppressor, and it's just crazy. I don't know how we
no
got
but
this bad.
but
How did we
no
get
but
here?
I
How did we get to where we can't defend the youth of Iran dying for what clearly is what they are dying for, freedom, and siding with the mullahs like your Kasparian and just Cenk and everyone else?
think that in fact the left has always sided with monsters, but they were better at hiding it,
Yeah.
at dressing it up, as we are for equality and justice and blah 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 and all these ideas, because it was only ideas. Because when these concepts come to be realized, okay, when they become a reality, we see Mao Zedong was the idol of the sick.
You're right. You're right.
Che Guevara, who is famous for enjoying watching executions, even of his former comrades. He was so bad that Castro threw him out of Cuba. That's how psycho he was. His T-shirt, his posters are all over campuses, and it's so much hypocrisy because obviously these people, the Mark Ruffalos and the Angelina Jolies, and they must have a very poor image of themselves because this is self-hatred. This is self-hatred. It's like you are the most privileged people living in one of the most privileged nation in the world, okay? And you hate it. You hate the people that made you who you are, famous and rich. You hate the system that allows you to be who you are and say what you say, and you hate it. But they are the most dishonest people because none of them will ever flee to Cuba or to
China.
North Korea or China or Tehran or Gaza, you know? If they were made, okay, you need to choose now. Now, there's no other place in the world. To survive, you need to live in America, in New York, or well, not New York today, obviously, but in America or in Tel Aviv or in Gaza or Kabul or Islamabad. That's your only choices. What is your first choice?
Well, stay put.
Okay, that's
It's
it.
easy, but again, it's always easy to criticize the system that preserves your very freedom to say all the stupidity that comes out of your mouth. So all the nonsense that you spout, you can say that in a country that won't prosecute you, kill you, or arrest you for saying that very same thing. And it's always, again, you're right, it's the privilege of the affluence of freedom that you take for granted, that we all take for granted, that these people take for granted. It's just so offensive. It's offensive. I mean, I won't even get to the amount of the indoctrination runs deep. I'll just put it that way. It's so deep. It's very entrenched. It's very hard to shake people out of this one view that the reason for the world's ills are usually to do with some kind of, what is it, Rothschild US/Jewish conspiracy that's the cause of everything, and that everything else is somehow excused
Yeah.
because the fundamental cause of the problem is the West. That's
And
I mean, that is
but for this crowd, who's been protesting for 2 years in support of the Free Palestine
ugh.
uh,
Mhm.
fraud, because it's a
It's
fraud.
a fraud.
Iran is a huge problem for them
Mhm.
because their narrative is crumbling right in front of their eyes.
But
So
it doesn't.
they need to stand with the mullahs, you know, rape girls before they murder them so they won't go to paradise. I mean, Angelina Jolie, when she wears that scarf, which is the symbol of oppression for millions of women around the world. And she wears as some kind of romantic, like, you're disgusting.
It's a fascination with, like,
No, they're monsters. I have absolutely no problem seeing why they side with monsters because they are themselves monsters. They're liars. They are lying. They know that what they say is bullshit. They know it's performative. They know it's like she went to Gaza and took some selfies. Hello. If you were honest, you would say that there's no genocide in Gaza and there's certainly no famine, but you can't because all your trip, your little gig in Gaza, promotion, okay, is as fake as you are. There's not an ounce of honesty in these people. They are the most, if anyone has worked with them or had some kind of relationship with them, they're not nice people. They
yeah,
aren't.
they're pretty
Okay.
vapid and self-centered and
And
narcissistic,
and
and
and they're dumb. They're
yeah,
dumb, and they
vapid.
think that because they played in a movie or written or performed a song, they have some kind of wisdom to share with the rest of us. No, please, we know your world. It's not something we aspire. To get any kind of feedback from. We know it's rotten, deeply rotten. And you're coming as some kind of warriors for justice.
It's
Hello.
outrageous.
Move away, move away. You despise what you think are the little people, you really despise them. And it doesn't matter that these people are paying your lifestyle right now. And I say, and I put it on Instagram, on X, stop watching their movies and buying their music. Stop
Mm.
it. You know, you are feeding the hand that slaps you every second they are allowed to open their mouth. They
It's
hate you. They
outrageous.
despise you. They look down on you. Stop feeding them. Stop feeding their arrogance
Mm.
and their narcissism. They are nothing.
Agreed. Well, Hollywood aside, the
Yeah.
reality on the ground now, this is, I mean, again, it's just nonsense. To listen to the media, the talk back chatter everywhere and these idiots in Hollywood. If you just ignore those and we look at what's happening on the ground, the information coming out of Iran's quite tragic. I mean, the numbers of dead keep climbing. And when we say numbers of dead, we're talking about children being shot dead by their own government. We're talking about, what was it, doctors that were raided at the hospital and arrested and shot for daring to treat protesters. I mean, we're talking about guards going around door to door, basically arresting, shooting people who have Starlink connections. I mean, this is the worst of the worst. In previous eras, there would have been a war declared. There would have been some sanctioning. There would have been some kind of action internationally. Where's the United Nations?
Ugh.
Where's the Security Council? Where
I
is
mean,
anybody? Where's Russia? I mean, I'm wondering again, we're going to say that Russia's playing a very interesting game because they've kept very stum. China and Russia are not
yeah.
saying much about anything. Not Venezuela and Maduro, and not about Iran. And
No,
I don't know if
listen.
they're waiting back or there's deals done. I don't know.
No, I think that China and Russia are smart because if there is a change of regime, they don't want to, they are looking, they are watching how things are developing from afar. I don't think there's any agreement between them and America. I think that Putin and Xi, they're not dumb, both of them, they're great chess players and they're watching, they're looking, they don't want to open their mouth because if there is a regime change, like I told you, they still want to do business because it's all about money, like you said.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, what I'm concerned is about the Trump administration. I'm watching it.
There's moves and I'm struggling to make sense of them
No,
because we don't.
Qatar has a freaking huge influence because the biggest losers, if there is democracy in Iran, a real democracy, they're going to lose a lot of money because the price of the barrel is going to just fall. And also, it's a war. What is happening in Iran, because people are going to say it's because of the cost of living. No, no, no. It's a war against Islam. It is a war against, they're burning mosques. Okay? It's
Well, it's
very,
the infrastructure and system of oppression.
no, no, no,
It's
but,
the physical
no, no, but
interpretation of their oppression.
they are burning mosques. It's a declaration. Okay? It's not incidental. I'm thinking that it's a very big symbol. And I listen to Iranian. I read some posts by Iranians. It is the war of Islam, okay, against Islam. And the Saudis and the Qataris, they're not going to let that happen. So for them, it's two problems. Is the price of the barrel,
Mm, mm, mm.
and second, what they consider to be their identity. One, they are expanding for decades all over the world. Okay? Because, you know, even myself, I thought for a moment that the Saudi prince was getting to our time and to realize that he has to make some reforms. I don't trust him. I don't think he's so moderate. His latest positions are very, very telling. And we cannot forget that Saudi Arabia spread Wahhabism for decades.
They were the original.
Not only in Muslim countries, and like Al Qaeda, really, 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 Al Qaeda is from Pakistan, okay? The movement of Al Qaeda it's not Afghani. It's in Pakistan, the madrasa. It's the madrasot, all these madrasot were teaching Wahhabism, and Al-Qaeda is born from that. So, and everybody's forgetting and believing the guy. I don't trust him. And I'm telling you, these are the two influences that stopped Trump, not only now to intervene, but that made him stop Israel in the last conflict. Okay, he restricted Israel. I mean, Israel did what it needed to do, clear everything for the Americans to come and and be able to target their their goal. But they were ready to get Khamenei, and Trump. I mean, that's what I read somewhere. Stopped it. And I'm telling you, because you have this Qatari I mean, like Witkoff. Did you? I mean, I'm gonna jump in another subject. The new how they call it, the Gaza Peace Force or something like that. Did you see who is in it? Qatar, Turkey. No, but it's a joke. Qatar and Turkey today are the two most important. How can I say? Not only supporters, sponsor for the Muslim Brotherhood.
Mhm,
Erdogan is a member of the Muslim Brotherhood,
mhm.
and Qatar. Egypt is not anymore the center, you know, of the Muslim Brotherhood. It's Qatar. And I say, what, is Trump not a visionary? Why Witkoff is trying to save Qatar? Okay, so hard. And they say, well, and we know the guy has been in business with Qatar for decades and made
Mm.
billions with them. And people say, yeah, but he has the connections.
Something's up.
Summing up, JD Vance also is very against it because he's very close also to the Qatari lobby.
Yeah.
That's the part of the walk right, because JD Vance is the undeclared leader of the walk right.
Mm, mm.
Let's call things what they are. And so I'm really, and also, Trump, it's okay if you don't intervene, but don't tell the Iranian people, don't leave the streets. We're coming to help you if you don't have the intention to do it.
Mm.
It's fine
Exactly.
if you don't. It's fine if you don't have. So what I think is happening right now, the mullahs are going to fall.
Well, they've
They're
already got the
they're
exit strategy. They've got their
they,
passports.
they are working because Qatar is the intermediary. Let me tell you. Okay, they are discussing their escape. They already transferred billions to Dubai and other places, and they're gonna put a regime which is close to Qatar, not the democracy representation, the democratic representation that the young people are. They want to live in a constitutional monarchy, most Iranian. Okay, so like the UK or whatever. They don't want anything Islamic. So they're going to give you people that they're going to recycle from the other regime, but were not for front, so we don't know them really.
They'll
Okay.
come out to the
They're going
forefront.
to
Yeah.
require, as a la Jolani. A la Jolani. That's what they're going to do. Look with Jolani. I
Well, they
mean,
did
they're,
it. They did it there.
they're murdering Kurds with the help of Erdogan. So, and Erdogan, I mean, Israel, they decided of this task force peace without Israel approval. And Israel, there's no way they're going to allow Turkish soldiers in Gaza. No
No,
freaking way.
I don't blame them.
Okay. So I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't get it.
There's a realignment happening somewhere. Look, I think it's a natural expiration date. Clearly, it's been 40 years plus. It's a natural, what's it called, attrition. The regime can't last. A bit like Mubarak. At some point, even though they were allied with it, at some point these things expire and you've got to move things around. My concern, we have a historical precedent. Okay. Every time these things happen, it is not replaced with a more stable regime. It's complete destabilization. From Egypt to Libya to Syria to Iraq, we're dealing with complete destabilization. If Iran descends into that degree of destabilization, it's going to be polemic on a level that we haven't seen before. I don't think Iran is in the same category as Syria, Iraq, Libya, Egypt. We are talking about a powerhouse of a nation, and I worry where this could descend into. They know this is a likely chance. They know this is happening. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's people spurring the young people on to get out onto the streets to encourage this. They did this in the Arab Spring as well. They, meaning whoever the undercovers are that are encouraging this. My concern is, what's the end game? I have one question, and I want to think when we go back to Trump and we're talking about there's Greenland and then there's the whole Maduro thing. Maduro was meeting with the Chinese. How did the Americans go in there? Just take him and go. And not a peep out of China, not a peep out of anyone. Like, you just took him and left. It's almost as if you knew exactly where he was going to be at the right time, at the right place. Is there a global realignment where we're seeing almost 1984 come to fruition? I don't know if you've read the book,
But I
but
don't
you've
think
got your
China.
East
No,
Asia,
no, no. I
Eurasia.
don't. So
I
I
think
see it.
so. Are the American
I see it completely differently. I
You don't see
see.
spheres of influence being arranged
No, I
and
see. No,
permitted?
no. I see that. I see the opposite of you. I see that Trump didn't choose this day. I mean, right after the meeting with China by accident. It was a message to China. Okay? Don't
Yes, but
fuck around.
without resistance, without even a
No, but then,
complaint.
hello, hello, hello. They have people from the inside. Hello, hello, hello. Military, people who couldn't stand anymore Maduro. Okay,
Of course,
within the regime got help from guys in the army,
of course.
Venezuelan army.
There's no
Okay,
way this would have
so
happened without, but
for sure.
isn't
And these people are so corrupt. Hello, we're talking about a place where you can buy freaking anyone. So you contact 2, 3 guys that are in
I
the army,
appreciate that.
and you tell them there's going to be $10 million in a bank account in the Bahamas for you in Venezuela. Hello. Yeah, the guy is going
I'm
to take the
aware of that.
money.
I'm aware. I'm just trying to say that I
And I
find
say, and I understand. Listen, it's not the first time America has done it. What was it, his name? The guy from Panama, Noriega. No, Noriega, they
yeah, but
came, they
we're
picked
not in
him
the
up.
80s
No,
though.
because, yeah, but everybody's like, oh my God, they came, blah, 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 broke international law, blah. Hello. It has been done 100,000 times. But what I want to say is that I understand Trump decision in that, hello, this is our hemisphere, China, because Venezuela, Iran, China, it's the same, with Hezbollah being all over everywhere, drug trafficking, weapon trafficking. They were in America's background. No way. Okay, so I understand. But I'm telling you that Trump chose that day. He knew about the meeting with the Russian. Obviously, they said that they were going to carry the mission a few days before, but they delayed it because of the weather. No, bullshit. All of this is bullshit to make you believe that they decided at the last second. It was not only we're going to pick up Maduro from where he is, but when you're going to be right after you depart. So we're going to tell you who's the sheriff in town. That's that. That's a power. Everything that's happening, it's China and America face to face. Everything that's happening all over.
But
It's China and America. Russia is there. Russia is there because he wants to be there. For me, is not one of the two-man player today. It's America and China. Who's going to win that battle? Okay, because it's a real battle. And like you say, they're proxy. All the other conflicts are proxies. You know what I mean? But the real confrontation is these two. I understand, and I even understand for Denmark. And I don't believe it when the Europeans are claiming like, oh my gosh, it's a violation of whatever. Hello, it's Danish intelligence that warned America about the Russian presence, okay? So yeah, in front of their people, they're gonna feel fake outrage and send 20 soldiers. Like I've
there's
seen the
already
German
Germans
soldiers.
departing for the Germans
Oh yeah,
departing.
German, did you see the boat? You can count them. You can count them. The French are going to send a unit, 20 guys, 17,000 American soldiers.
And just like that, Trump's managed to get European proxies to defend Greenland from the Russians without stepping foot on Greenland. Isn't that
Exactly.
clever? Very clever. So I think strategically he's smart. I just want to say, though, I cannot understand the silence of the Chinese. I mean, the Chinese are not backwards at saber rattling or testing missiles
No.
or throwing a little bit of flexing muscle. Nothing.
They're
Nothing.
watching.
I mean, they're watching and they're
You know,
waiting for Taiwan. I think they're going to go in for
exactly,
Taiwan. But, but, but,
exactly.
but,
That's
what do
their
you think the Americans are going to do? They're bound by the Taiwan Relations Act, but nowhere in that act does it say they have to defend Taiwan. Nowhere. All it says is that they will provide weapons for Taiwan to defend itself. There's nothing that guarantees American
foot.
involvement in that. Nothing in the act. It's ambiguous language on purpose, right? That act is ambiguous deliberately. What if there is an arrangement? I take Maduro out. That region's mine. Anyone, Russia, China, you get the hell out of my region and you can keep yours.
Exactly.
You want Taiwan? We don't care. You want to take Hong Kong? We don't care. South China Sea? As long as you don't block trade, it doesn't matter because we're going to take the North Passage anyway. Take the South China Sea. We don't care. That's what I was saying. Are we seeing these multipolar world where there's spheres of influence and there's an agreement, tacit, if not covert agreements here, that we each stay in our lane and we won't interfere in each other's business? Because otherwise I can't understand the silence, radio silence from Russia, radio silence from China about Iran.
No, no, no. When the skies were closed, when they shut down the skies over Iran, 2 cargo planes landed from China. Okay, so China, and also via Qatar and via Turkey. Don't worry, they're receiving the help that we don't see, but they're not.
We're not getting the public support though, which I don't understand. Normally, these countries would, if they were strong in their positions with these countries as overt allies, they would say something. They're saying nothing. Now, yes, they're
No,
quietly supporting. I would say
yeah,
China's quietly in the back door of every country, including the US. I
yeah,
don't think it matters.
yeah,
Business is business, right?
yeah.
But I wonder what's happening in terms of these strategic partnerships that are happening in front of our eyes. Let's just put it this way. Every time, whether it was the Gulf War, the first, the Afghanistan involvement, this involvement, what happened in the Russians were quick to respond. They were the first to say, you're not stepping foot, you're not doing that in Libya, you're not going there. There was some open opposition to what's been happening. They said a few things about the Gaza and the Israelis, a couple of things that sort of dismissed, just they had to say something. They've said nothing. I don't know what Russia's doing unless there is a secret. They've got bigger visions with the North Passage. The ice
I
is
don't know
melting. The ice
what.
is melting, Linda, and the North Passage is now open. It's going to shave off days off transport.
But
Days.
there is also oil, okay? Because
Oh, there's
China,
gas up
I
there.
think
Gas up there.
70% of China's supply is between Venezuela and Iran. It's huge. It's huge, 70%. Because now America is controlling Venezuela oil. Okay, they're gonna sell it. You know, like he said, I'm gonna sell it to China and to Russia, but not at a favorable rate anymore. And if he puts a regime listen, the Iranian people, young and older, because it's not only the youth today who stepped out in the streets, okay? Families, parents with their children. So it's not only the youth. It's not Afghanistan, it's not Iraq. They are proud of their roots, of their ancient roots. And there is this revival, and they say they don't even want to call it Iran anymore. They want to call it Persia, okay? They want to go back to their religion of origin, the belief, their tradition. They said, we invited 4,000 Muslims because they were persecuted, and they turned our country into. They're not. It's not their mentality. There's culture. There is, you can erase a lot of things, but you cannot erase the traditions that you get, from generation to generation to generation to generation. If it's in the cooking, if it's celebrating certain days or a certain way of wedding or birthday, you can't erase that. They're Persians, okay? And they don't want to have anything. They really want to dissociate themselves from that. They're rejecting it. And that the left cannot stand for it. Because
Know how they exist. It's
they're
the
Islamo,
cognitive.
they call them Islamophobic. I mean, I
It's
don't know.
the cognitive dissonance you would need to have to call yourself a feminist, to call yourself a human rights advocate, and to sit there and see pictures of Iran before
You know, it's like
1979, and
we
then to look at what's happening right now is just you have to be there has to be
now
a real
and Windkoff telling us that he spoke with the regime and they said that they would stop the executions. But since when do you believe in these people? Do you believe that these people are telling the truth? I mean, come on. And now, yeah, they didn't hang them, they shot them. Okay? So insult us as if we're so dumb, you know? Like I mean, you never told us that you believe the Ayatollah. When did that happen? When did it happen that you had to give credibility to a regime that you called thugs and assassins yesterday? Okay? So I'm telling you,
this is a regime that hangs people from cranes in public
it's
view. I
there
mean, we're
there is so
talking
it's something is happening, is brewing behind the scene where the Qatar and Saudi Arabia and Turkey are pressuring
the US.
the US to put a regime that would be compatible with them, and it's not going to work because
And I have
Iranians,
another question, Linda, as well.
yeah,
Where on God's green earth is Europe? Where is Europe? Where is the leadership? Where is NATO, for starters? I mean, Turkey is a part of NATO. They're worried about bloody Greenland? That's your concern? And you're not looking eastwards? Where is Europe? Where is the leadership in this continent to say, what is happening down the road to people? There's nothing. Europe is a dead continent as far as I'm concerned.
is dead. It's dead. It's irrelevant.
It's not
It's
only irrelevant,
absolutely no, but it's like no one cares about anything they have to say. Not Russia, not China, and not America. No, no, they
but
don't
this is
care.
the thing.
They don't care.
This is a continent. I live in a country where they have officially reinstated conscription now. Everyone over 18 has to compulsorily fill out a questionnaire. Boys have to give details, and if they are
Where?
needed, they will in Germany as of 1st of January
Yes,
2026. They have to start.
yes.
Yes, they are preparing. They have
I don't
been. They've
know.
been drip feeding us about a potential war for years now. Prepare for 3 weeks. Make sure you have stock available. Make sure you do X, Y, and Z. They're preparing for something. I have news that on good, let's put it this way, from information from people here, that NATO will declare, you'll love this one. If Trump declares
Yeah.
it captures Greenland, that NATO will declare war on the US because Greenland is Denmark and Denmark are part of NATO, therefore an attack on one's attack on all. Can you imagine? This is what the Europeans are preparing for. A potential war, not with
They.
Russia, not with
Do you
Russia,
think? Do you?
with another NATO member called the US
No,
over
no,
Greenland.
no.
This is what the
But
NATO people are preparing for.
yeah, but hello. Hello,
This is what they're
it's fake. It's fake. It's absolutely fake.
I know.
It's for the people to believe that they're doing anything because we don't know what they're doing
They're
exactly.
doing nothing. But
They're doing nothing, and to kind of catch some kind of relevancy because they've none. Nobody cares about Europe. So they say it's performative. I told you their stance against America. They're the one who called. I mean, they're part of NATO. Yeah, they should be worried that China is there. So they're the one who called America, but we're gonna pretend we're offended. Yeah, and we because this is so. I mean, it's so ridiculous and hilarious. No, it's hilarious. It's like,
speaking of ridiculous and hilarious, and actually more to the ridiculous rather than hilarious, did you hear
yeah,
about a report that just came out, the Zambla investigation? I'm only saying this because Europe is cooked. And I say this as an example of have you heard about the Stek Oost project in Amsterdam, which was a housing project, like government housing?
yeah.
And they tried an experiment where in 2018, in order to aid integration, they housed 125 asylum seekers in this government housing block with 125 students, some of which were international students, because that's the only affordable accommodation they could have to a study. Do you hear about that? Well, the report came out. This is how well integration has gone. This is what we call this is the damage our governments have placed us in. I don't know how these students have not sued the government. This investigation is saying assaults, rape, one particular rape case, knife threats, drug trafficking, 7 sexual assaults that were reported. There have been actually over 20 reports in 2022 of sexual assaults and 1 of a gang rape that they have not yet acknowledged, but it has been reported by the the custodians of the property and the buildings. And the project continues. They haven't removed anyone. They haven't deported anyone. They can't remove these asylum seekers from the building because they have nowhere left to go. So then they're left living there with these poor students who also have nowhere left to go. Housing's very tight in Amsterdam, right? They can't afford. They'll be basically kicked out on the street because they have no alternative accommodation where to live. And the project doesn't end until 2028. Now,
And no
tell me
one.
what degree of, I don't even know, malevolence would you have to have as a government to risk your own citizens and international students, young people living in your quest, your desire to engineer socially this project, right? This desire to engineer cohesion amongst savages versus young people who grew up in the West. You can't. But you force these two together, and what was the outcome? Rape, assault, knife threats, drug trafficking. Yeah. You're welcome. This is the country we live in.
Listen,
This is the continent we live in. That's just one example that's been released in the Netherlands. But how much of this shit is happening all over Europe? All over
listen
Europe.
every day, every
Every
day,
day
every
there's another
day.
beheading, another attack, another rape, another
It's
assault,
not only that.
another.
It's not only that. It's every day, every day. I'm on social media. There is an imam somewhere, Italy, Germany, Australia, Canada, America, France, who preaches our death, that they need to kill the Jews and the Christians. And that anyway, yeah, we come here to conquer you. Yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. You have no children. We are marrying 4 wives, and we have minimum 5 children per wife. Yeah, we came to overtake you. These are the people our government, which is paid with our tax money, okay, are inviting to live among us. Is it naivete? I don't
No,
think so.
no.
Okay, it's like
This is
you said you use the malo, malevolence, you chose the right word. And I said because I was looking at Carney, this other clown in Canada also. And I said, after the Second World War, anyone, I mean, the big, not everybody, unfortunately, most, I mean, famous collaborators in Holland, France, wherever they were, arrested, prosecuted, judged. Some of them got the death penalty. Some of them got years of. I hope one day we will have the opportunity. I will have the opportunity to see these guys facing treason charges. Because, I mean, some people might say that I go a bit far. What is it if it's not treason? I mean, how do you call it?
it's
Because it's
definitely
either,
treason.
okay?
It's
And even with
textbook
Iran,
treason.
even with Iran, they could have toppled the Iranian regime without any military intervention decades ago. Don't buy their oil. Don't do business with Iran. And any country who does business with Iran put sanctions on him that was going to strangle his life. But they didn't do it
Well,
because
they
we
did
are
have sanctions on Iran. Didn't Obama loosen those up?
Yeah, but
He's the
anyway,
one that loosened them up, didn't he?
listen, in every freaking government in the world, okay, in every country in the world, not government, there are politicians who are bought everywhere. In France, in America, in Canada, everywhere. Okay, we have politicians who are getting money from enemy states, who are working for these people. So the system is you said it in the beginning in the introduction, money. Greed. If, Islamists shouldn't even do terror and everything. They're dumb. They're too dumb because greed will destroy the West.
Yeah.
They
And
can buy them. Yeah.
on that note,
Yeah.
yes, on that very positive note, I'm just looking at the time, conscious of
Yeah.
time.
Let's go.
We could talk for 3 hours if we could, but we have to
Yeah.
wind it up. But I
Yeah,
think next time I'd love to have a deep dive into Ilhan Omar, Tim Waltz, and Minnesota, because I think that deserves its own podcast after what's been uncovered there.
yeah,
Not that we were unsure, but to have Nick Shirley doing serious journalism, 22-year-old podcaster,
incredible,
22-year-old young man on
incredible YouTuber.
and I think we deserve him, we owe him, but let's see what happens with what he's uncovered. So
Nothing. I have news for you. Nothing will happen to these people.
nothing, yes.
Okay, we'll talk about it because it's important and it also showcases the hypocrisy of the left. But have a very good evening.
You too, you
Good
too.
luck
I was
for
gonna
tomorrow.
thank
And
you.
let's pray for the Iranian people.
That's most important. Let's
May God be with
a
them
thought for
and
them, and
may their dreams and goals come true.
amen.
On this
All right,
note,
Linda.
bye bye. Bye, honey.
Yes, bye. Bye.